Hi Janelle, how you doing? I've got you queued up and ready to go. So let's get started. I want to start with the magazine because so you've got this yarn edit. You've got your double spread, and the first thing I want to see I want to see is what happens when we draw the center line. The center line. Well, let's see. Let's Command R that. I'm going to take this guy, and you've got a 15 and a half, so that's 7 3/4. There's your center line, right? Look how close your type is to the center line, and look how close that headline is to the center line. That is not good because it's that type margins like that are going to be affected when you fold this page. Even if this is just one page, you fold it, you're going to start seeing your type disappear in that fold right there, let alone if it's part of a stack of paper. So that's called creep, page creep, and that's something you really want to go. This is called a gutter area. That's the line between text columns. So that you want to increase that area. Okay. So what does that leave us with? That leaves us with this. I want to take. Well, no, I'll leave that. Yeah, I'll take that away. So what does that leave us with? That leaves us with. That leaves us with this layout, and as we look at the page, we see one thing immediately is that it is extremely imbalanced. If this was a scale, the fulcrum would be right here, and this page would be tipping this way, would be falling over this way. And that indicates poor page balance, and that's because of the denseness of the black and white, and then the denseness of the type, and just the whole thick denseness of the fact that this whole page is covered from center to corner. And then this page is wide open. I like that this page is wide open. I don't think it's working with this layout. I want to talk about the typography, and then I want to show you some examples. So you've got basically, it's hard to tell. I think this is going to end up being a 3-column grid, where you've used the 2 columns on one and the 1 on the other. And that's fine. That's a perfectly viable technique. However, I think that at this point you really need to start looking at white space on the right-hand side of the page. Typographically, I think your type it's set okay. I don't see any serif typefaces at all. I think you're going to really see a striking relationship between on your paper when you start mixing serif and sans serif types. It just brings out a whole new realm of typographic design. I always recommend that you do not use dummy text, Greeking, lorem ipsum, whatever you want to call it, because it just doesn't sit right. You can always place words in here from any story you find because you're going to credit it anyways. You've got some widows and some widows are. This is a widow right here. That guy right there. Technically, that is too, even though it's widow. This is too. Technically, I mean, a widow is basically. It's 1 or 2 words or a half a word with a hyphenation that sit at the end of a paragraph. Another thing I noticed is you're not demarcating your new paragraph. In other words, if this line of type here went to the end here, there's nothing telling the reader that this is the new paragraph. Typically we use a space between or an indent. If you're going to use an indent, try to keep it less than 4 spaces deep into the paragraph. If you're going to use a space between, you'll want to set that up using character styles or paragraph styles in InDesign. Okay, you'd want to use a drop cap here. Usually a drop cap someplace where you indicate where the beginning of the story is. It's a really, really difficult thing to try to set a subhead, then an image, and then the story. It's better to keep things in proximity, closer to each other. This, in other words, should be moved closer to the type with the image on top. Okay, I just want to show you something really quick. You know what? Now that I look at it, I think your kerning is really tight here on this type. It is really tight. The leading is beautiful. The kerning is extremely tight. Now, okay. It looks like your baselines don't align also right here. That's pretty important. Alignment is really, really important. Whenever you have a chance to align two things, do so. Look how nice that looks aligned. Look how bad that looks not aligned. Okay. Now I want to do something. I'm just going to bring you over to some examples of some typographic layout pages, and I just want you to take a look at. These are wonderful examples. But just, all I did here is say typographic magazine design spread, and you get these wonderful techniques that I think would be really interesting for you to use as your visual inspiration. I'm not saying copy by any means, but I'm certainly saying it's okay to look at what other designers are doing and what professional typesetting might look like in a magazine setting. This, I think, is really interesting. The type is just gorgeous here. You got this wonderful 3-column grid. Okay, type is justified. There's no rivers. Well, that's not true. There are some rivers, but it's not too bad. Note the 3-column grid. Okay, I want you to note this relationship too. In a magazine, a lot of times you have this relationship. You have the headline is the number one in hierarchy and position. Then you have the byline, and then the byline, and then you have the subhead. Then the type starts. So you always see this kind of hierarchy where the headline takes first place, then the subhead or the byline and the subheads. Not in that order, but usually a combination of those three. Okay. I also want you to see some. Well, you can do this on your own. You can take a look at these typographic layouts and see what's really important and what might not be. For example, you're going to learn that this area right here, this triangle I'm drawing, this area right here, these are pretty important areas. So you're going to want to use those areas. Again, I think that using this typographic, this research, as it were, you know, and these are just so wide. I think that if we do something like, boy, yeah, I'm just going to let you do your own visual research. But there's so many different ways we can go to even out the balance and really take a look closer at the typography, the leading, the kerning, the widows, and drawing attention to the type itself. Try a call out. That's CALLOUT. That's a wonderful technique. Try that, and you know, just keep working. If you have any questions at all, just please feel free. Oh, hey, I forgot something. Wait, got this. Oh, I want to mention. I'm so glad that you submitted this because this is really important. Now, our assignment is. Let me see. Assignment. It's a gatefold. Okay, so you'll be designing a 2-color gatefold. Okay, that's a gatefold right there. So what you're showing are not gatefolds. This is just a folded in half. That's just a 4-page brochure. And this is a trifold. Okay, so neither of, well, actually, I mean, technically that is a gatefold. Technically a trifold is a gatefold, but I want to show you. Trifold usually folds over on itself, though, like yours is going to do here. That's going to fold over on itself, which means that this is going to fold in, this is going to fold in. You're going to have one panel. So with a gatefold, you have 2 panels in the middle and 1 panel and 1 panel, so that they both fold over on the 2 pages in the middle. Let me show you an example. This is a really good example right here. This is a gatefold right here. See what I'm saying? See how that's different than a trifold? The center panel on a trifold would be equal size as the 2 side panels. In a gatefold, it's double size. Okay? As we can clearly see with this illustration here. Okay, so other than that, as I was saying, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a holler. Thanks, Janelle.